Gruesome Magazine.
Hello, once again, I'm your host, Doc Rodden, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-host Jeff Mohr, Crystal Cleveland, Dave Dreher, Christopher G. Mohr, and I will take a look at various spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings. Tonight, we are reviewing Revealer, streaming on Shudder. Oh boy. Joining me tonight is my co-host, Jeff Mohr. Jeff, how are you doing, sir?
They call me the Revealer.
No.
Whoa.
Sit down, young man.
Whoa. Too much?
Oh my god. Okay, see.
Well, we didn't see. We don't know if it's too much or not.
You guys didn't like the belt buckle? That was a good looking belt
All
buckle.
right, there you go, folks. Thank you for the show. We'll see you next week. All right. Also joining this week is Crystal Cleveland, the Living Dead Girl. Top that. How you doing?
See, yeah, I know. I'm like, see, this is why I hate the intros at this point, because for some reason I'm just like, what's up? How's it going? And then everyone else is like, so I guess really
you keep us grounded. You keep us grounded. That's what it is.
No, it just makes I just don't think hard enough about it, and now that makes me mad. I've got to like compete, you know, got to come up to the level.
Well, I just had to remember to wear pants.
Well, thank God. Thank God. All right, also joining us is award-winning filmmaker.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Boy, how you doing, Chris?
I don't get paid enough to review. I'm an award-winning director. I have a reputation to hold.
That wholesomeness.
Yeah, because I make movies about penis creatures.
Yes, you do. All right, rounding out the crew.
That'd have been great if we had a hobgoblin.
Oh. Yeah. Where's Nobby?
He can't be far. He's never far away.
Yep.
There he is.
The tooth just fell off. He must have seen this movie.
Oh no! Rounding out the crew, the man with all the pants, Dave. How you doing, sir?
Oh.
Did you see me wearing my thing hat for the 40th anniversary of the thing? Come on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm the only one that's on point tonight.
Man, I need to get my beanie hat.
You guys got stuff hiding everywhere. You got penis-eating monsters. You got beanie hats. Good lord.
I got my Jaws hat.
I gotta entertain myself.
All right. Well, what we're going to do tonight, folks, is give our first impression of Revealer. That will be spoiler-free, and then we'll dive into a discussion and get into some spoilers. There are a few. Yeah, there's a few. And then we'll wrap things up with our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. Oh, man. Yeah, you know, we hope you like this review and many others that we have on the site. And if you do, we hope you hit the subscribe button, the like button, and share with a friend. And of
like
course,
it, for sure.
Leave your comments down below. Let's take a look at this card, shall we? Revealer 2022, available streaming on Shudder, beginning with a couple of extra ends in there. June 23rd, 2022. Directed by Luke Boyce, story by Luke Boyce, written by Michael Moreci and Tim Seeley. I don't have the names on there, apologies. The cast includes Kato Aase, I believe, or Aase, Shaina Schrooten, Bishop Stevens, Phil Bogdan, excuse me, Buzz Leer. I like that, Buzz Leer.
Phil Bogdan?
God, Lord God.
Bogdan. And Sammy DelPurgatorio.
Yeah.
Where did that name come from? I like that name. Purgatorio. All right, synopsis is tensions rise when a stripper and a religious protester are trapped together at a peep show booth and must come together to survive the apocalypse in 1980s Chicago.
Okay.
That's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
It is. All right.
It is.
Let's find out what our first impression is. Dave, welcome back, sir.
Ooh, I get to go first. I feel like I'm going first all the time anymore.
Get to go first. What was your first impression of Revealer?
Okay. Well, yes, these,
Okay.
but this is kind of a complicated movie for me because I started off really kind of disliking it quite a bit. That whole opening scene with the dude locked in the red room and watching himself on TV, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" But really, that ends up being kind of a throwaway. I don't know why they chose that for the opening because it's really horrible, and it doesn't really relate back to anything else in the story. But once it got going, once we met our two leads, our stripper who works at a peep show, and the protester religious chick that is protesting outside, and they get thrown into this a rather bizarre Armageddon situation. And I found myself really kind of liking these two characters. I really did. As it progressed along, I kind of got wrapped up into their little drama they had going on, and it kind of reeled me in a little bit. I mean, this movie looks like it was made for about $5. They didn't have a lot to work with. You can tell a lot of the times they're running up and down the exact same hallways, just trying to change the camera angle to make it look different. And I know I'm not generally a big fan of the blinking bright lights, but they use them to good effect here because they don't have money for anything else, I think. But they actually, use it to good effect. It's annoying when people with money resort to that because they think it looks cool. It's a total different thing, at least for me, when they're doing out of necessity and finding a way to make it work. And I think they do that here. So first impression, not great, but I think you should watch it.
Oh,
Okay.
Wow.
Interesting.
Nice. All right, Crystal, you are up next. What is your first impression of Revealer?
Okay, so when I first started watching this movie, I was like, ugh. I was with Dave. I was like, ooh, oh, this is not going to be good. And even when it first started out with the stripper and the interaction with the religious girl,
Bitch.
yeah, I was like,
Pearl.
yeah. Then as the movie started going on, I don't know what it was, but the relationship between the two girls got me. I really feel like the character development between them was really good. It's odd because there's some weird moments. Like they have this, well, I don't think this isn't giving anything away, but they have this strip tease and like they did these slow motion shots and it's like the worst slow motion I've ever seen in my life. At the worst moments, at the worst time. Like it's like they made the girl look ugly. And she's not. She's an attractive girl, but they caught her at like weird moments, like and I'm like, what are they doing putting that in slow motion? That was super odd to me. But as it went on, as I said, like I started to really love the two leads, and I loved how they kind of interacted, how they played off of each other, and I don't know. They got me. I thought they were kind of funny and it felt real. It felt really authentic between them. And honestly, I liked the little alien character, the monsters and stuff. Like, I think they didn't do a horrible job on the monsters and things like that. I think they did what they could with the budget that they had. So the problem is when I first started watching it, I too fell asleep. And then I woke up and I was like, oh, I missed all the movie. I have to rewatch it. And I actively focused. And once I got past a certain point, that's when I really liked it. So unfortunately, I don't think a lot of people are going to make it to the point where I feel like the movie actually starts giving something back. So, I feel like it's definitely worth a watch. I think it's really actually pretty good. And I really liked it, about halfway through to the end. So I enjoyed it. Yep.
Fair. All right, Christopher G. Mohr, sir, you're up next. What was your first impression of Revealer?
I'd prefer a concealer. I did not like this film. This film felt like guys writing female characters.
Oh, okay.
With the dialogue, I didn't believe any of the dialogue in it. That they were more characters. And at first I thought, oh, it's set in the 80s. This is right in my. And I'm starting to realize that just because you said Netties doesn't mean I'm gonna like it.
Good. Yep.
And yeah, I just, and then it gets very repetitive, and then it gets to a point where it's like, you know what, we don't have the ability for sets, so we're just gonna reuse the same thing over and over. We're gonna use like a monster that looks like something from Halloween Spirit Store, and I mean, it's just yeah. I mean, it's really, there's no effort put into the main monster at all. I mean, it was kind of sad, actually. I mean, the main effort seemed to be put into like the sort of like the other creatures, which I'll give them that much. I'll give them props for that. I think some of that stuff, even some of the CGI was kind of obvious in parts. But yeah, I didn't believe. I could see a lot of this stuff coming a mile away in regards to the characters. The story was stupid. And yeah, I mean, it's like the striptease is one of the worst striptease I've ever seen on film. It's like, if you're going to do something that's going to be something that feels like an 80s thing, at least put some effort into it. And that seemed like lazy shot selection and really bad editing. Yeah, just everything overall just did not work at all. I mean, and then it becomes like halfway through, it becomes a repetitive mess to where they don't know really where they're going. And then their decisions they make, don't make a lot of sense. And then the one girl, just every time something happens, she's like, what the fuck? She says it like that, like really slow. What the fuck? And I'm sorry, if there's a monster that's like an inch from your face, I don't think you're going to take the time to say that. You're going to run the other direction or use something to fight with it.
Well, I had to go down her throat, so like that was.
Well, I've seen better films that incorporate that. Overall, I was not a fan of any of this film. I mean, there was probably one line that made me laugh.
One line,
because it was just a bad line. But but overall, I was not entertained. I wish I'd fallen asleep. I probably could have dreamed better. But yeah, I mean, I don't mean to seem that I don't hate it, but I just don't like it.
You're not mad. You're just disappointed. God.
Yeah, I'm disappointed.
Oh, okay, that's okay. Yeah,
it's 80s oriented film. I don't want to be disappointed.
Yeah, Jeff Morcer, what was your first impression of Revealer?
Well, this is going to sound like pieces of everybody else's, but it's going to be weird pieces put together in a different way. I, like Dave, didn't like that intro footage or prelude, whatever that was. It didn't really make any sense or connect, at least for me. I couldn't understand the demon voice.
Oh, yeah.
I just couldn't understand it. I'd catch a word here and there. That was about it. I felt like I was getting this. It was more like this a philosophical discussion between an atheist who's just trying to make something of their life, get along in life, versus this Bible thumper in almost some kind of weird microcosm of current cultural issues. But and then get into this sort of relationship building and the coming together in some way. And I liked some of that. I liked some of the relationship between them, but that's pretty much all it was. And that's what I didn't like. For me, it was like, I know you've heard me say this before, but too much talking.
No, there's a lot of talking.
God, so tired of the talking. So, anyway, and then they kind of take turns confessing something to each other and then encouraging the other person to, and start to bond. It was really, once you knew that they weren't going to stay at odds, the rest seemed to be pretty predictable. Anyway, so I didn't hate it either. I liked parts. There was a couple of lines I liked and stuff. So, just didn't particularly like it, and I could have missed it.
Oh my god, could have missed it. All right, I'm pretty much in Crystal's camp with this. I too, I was in the pre-show. I confessed that I had to watch it twice because there's a point where I fell asleep and then I woke up right at the end, right at the very end, going, yeah. It was like, oh no, I gotta watch it again. And yeah, the beginning of this movie, that the intro like doesn't really entice you to watch the movie. It doesn't do its job. Which is unfortunate. I too found that once the girls got into the same room, and it started to become a film, and because before that it was like, you can get out the door, go away, you're not there, you don't have to be there with her, and it seemed weird and contrived, but eventually I started getting into how these two girls were going to get along and save themselves, and I liked where it goes. Was it predictable? Sure, but I enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed it when in the cavern area more than in the strip club area or the peep show area.
Yeah,
it's not really a strip
too.
club; it's a peep show.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't have any problem with the cheesy effects. It felt appropriate for this movie. Felt like this is what they could do. In the end, I enjoyed it. It's not going to be it's not going to be on my worst list. Like I feel like it might be on a couple of people here. But to be fair, it's not on my best list either. But I had a good time, and I think a lot of fans of Shudder will enjoy it. So it'll be interesting to see what particulars, as we get into our discussion, stand out or fall way too short. So let's get into some spoilers. I don't know where to start. But you said something about I didn't have a problem with the special effects with the.
I did not have a problem with the striptease. I don't see what the big.
It was that look for me. It was like, well, for one, it was just way too much slow motion. That slow motion is meant to be used sparingly, not like a whole sequence of scenes. Plus, they did. I know what they were trying to do. I know what they were trying to do. They were trying to do like those strip teases we've seen in tons of movies, where they do this bits of slow motion with someone bringing their hair back, and that's not even the moments that they used. It was just really odd. I don't know.
Well, I didn't even notice the slow motion.
Well, maybe that's what they were hoping. That maybe that's the difference. Yeah, maybe
she seemed a little awkward in the striptease, and then the slow motion just made that awkwardness even
seem worse. Yes, I think that exactly, Dave. Thank you.
Unattractive or anything like that. Those scenes should have been, just faster. Because again, she just looked awkward. She just looked like she wasn't comfortable doing it. And then so
that could be it. Yeah.
I mean, maybe it was just to extend the runtime. I mean, I don't know why it didn't seem, the slow motion didn't serve a purpose.
Well, and I think that's a lot of times that's why you hire people, or you get body doubles that can sort of pull off the types of things you need for a character. And that just seemed like somebody who was uncomfortable
in their own
doing
skin,
the dance, and that's fine. But not some people just can't really dance or because I mean, people always say, I can get up on that pole and dance, but not and it's a really hard thing. I know people that do that are have a lot of dexterity and a lot of physicality to be able to do that properly and have some elements of being able to dance certain ways, and so that the slow motion is actually going to make that even more obvious. But also just the shot selection and everything, just it was like, it just felt like somebody who never shot anything like that before. It was kind of obvious. But getting back to your point, Doc, about the special effects, you mean the guy in the big Jedi robe and to get off of Amazon Prime? Yeah, that was one of the worst things I've seen in a horror film. Mainly because it just felt like a 12-year-old made that monster, and compare that to the other things with like the snake penises that are happening in this. I mean, a lot of that stuff works okay. It isn't so bad. But yeah, compared to 2, it's almost like, okay, we ran out of money. Go down to Walmart and get a Halloween mask or something, and just throw it on him, and just put a big robe around him, and then we'll have a Tony Todd sound alike who's going to mumble so you can understand what he's saying.
I forgot about that.
And
I'm
so
glad
things
you
like
brought
that,
up,
just
Jeff.
for me, maybe it's just more my filmmaker side. It just irritated me. Like, I can watch other things that are less professionally made or have a low budget, and I'm okay with it. But this, like, all these little elements, just like, oh, that looks bad, that looks bad, and then those hallways are just like the same thing over and over. It's just so much repetitive. So yeah, it's like, and then I don't know, it just irritated me, and I couldn't fall asleep to work.
So when Jeff brought this up about not understanding the main demon, that is a huge issue. I'm surprised that they didn't, take an external party and play those for someone to find out. Because I bet you for them, they're like, oh yeah, we know what it's saying. We know, because they've heard it and they know what it's supposed to be. But really, when you do things like that, it's best if you get someone who hasn't heard it, hasn't listened to it, and play it for them and see if they can understand it.
Or if you watch the movie, put the subtitles on.
Or that.
It could be
better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
I'm just going to say one more thing about. I thought so. I'm still not quite getting your guys' point on the striptease, and I think it's because
you are
just
focused on the striptease.
Well, there's a point to be made here. This was obviously, if you look at that building and the guy running it, this was obviously the lowest rent place you could ever do a striptease. And it was a peep show, a one-on-one kind of peep show.
Yeah.
Where somebody pays some money and their little shutter opens so they could see the person.
Yeah.
And they showed different heads back there. So I didn't expect her to look like, I don't know, like Demi Moore doing a striptease in front of Burt Reynolds. Or I thought she looked appropriate for the surroundings and the quality of it. And I mean, she's doing it on a friggin' bent up folding chair, so that's just what I thought.
I think it goes against her character, though. They're trying to show her as the strong, independent, aggressive female, and then she didn't portray that in her dancing. I agree. I think Dave kind of hit the nail on the head. I kind of missed that, but I do think that that's part of it. I mean, in addition to the way it was edited, but yeah, I think there was multiple things going there.
Yeah, I don't think it was.
I love that you want to talk about it, Jeff. I mean, you never freaking fight for anything, so you fight for that striptease, Jeff. You fight for it.
It's gonna be his favorite scene.
I love it. I love it.
Let's go ahead and wrap this up. Let's give our final thoughts. Our score 1 to 5. This should be fun, and our favorite scene.
Dave Dreher.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think we pretty much said it all here, and I think we're actually all in a little bit more, except for maybe Christopher. We're all kind of in the same camp. I didn't dislike this movie, but with that being said, you certainly can't sing its praises. It's not a great movie, but I did like the relationship. I don't know if it was the way they were written or the way they were portrayed, but I found their relationship, once they're together, once they end up in those tunnels together, fighting for their lives, I did enjoy that. So I'm going to recommend this movie. Give it a watch.
Okay.
Favorite scene, I'm going to go with this is spoilery. I'll try to say it as unspoilery as I can, but where our one character professes why she is as religious as she is attempting to be, and what it's actually covering. The true feelings that were there. And I think at the end of the day, that was kind of the message of this whole movie, was don't judge a book by its cover. And, we're all stronger together than we are fighting separate battles. You know, I think that's what the filmmakers were attempting to say in a weird way. But I'm going to give it, again, not a great movie. I'm going to give it a 2.75. It's a little better than it's a little better than average. It's a good Shudder watch. It's not super long. It's worthy of your time.
It's a good Shudder watch. All right, Crystal, you're up next. Your final thoughts, your score, your favorite scene.
So I'm probably going to parrot a lot of Dave. Yep. I mean, I definitely think it might take some people a little bit of time to get into it, like it did for me. But I think once you get past a lot of that beginning part, I think people will appreciate the relationship between the two leads. I think they did a great job in their roles, really. I mean, and much like Jeff, a lot of you might really love the striptease. I mean, because the girl's attractive, you know. I wish I had been there to direct it and film it and edit it so that I could make her look really hot. But yeah, Christopher's no, don't. Oh my God, I'm dead right now. Okay,
Christopher thinks he's Neo. Apparently,
actually, I would like to see you parody that, Christopher. I think
that's your
that
next
is something.
cosplay.
Yep.
Subscribe to my Patreon.
But I'm gonna give it. I'm in between, actually, a 2.75 and a 3. I'm kind of teetering. But yeah, I mean, it's totally, I don't know what it was, but I really started to enjoy the two leads. And I really started to enjoy their relationship. And what my favorite scene actually kind of plays into that. It's something I've never heard before in my life. But Coos Brews.
Yes.
Yeah, I've never heard that before in my life, and I died. I laughed and I was like, what? I had to rewind it and listen. I was like, Coos Brews? Oh my God. Oh my God, yes. So maybe that's what got me. The movie got me, but yeah. You'll know when you know.
My lady parts hurt. Oh, man. So I think you gave it a 2.875. Right.
Yeah. There we go.
Your final
I forgot I never finished. Yeah.
your score, your favorite scene.
Actually, that is the thing that made me laugh. And I wrote it down. And actually, this is a good explanation for this movie. You're lucky a Coos Brews is all you got.
No.
Yes.
I did laugh out loud at that one part, but at the same time, I was like, guys wrote this film. Guys wrote this film with female characters, and I think that's the one takeaway I had. I felt like in regards to Dave's thing, you could see that thing coming a mile away. I mean, there's so many things that are very easy to understand where it's going, repetitive. And that whole opening scene, which with that guy is one of the worst actors ever that plays the preacher. And I was like, if the rest of this movie's like this, oh my gosh. But yeah, I don't know. As much as I like movies that are set in the 80s, this didn't work for me. I got more irritated, and I think a lot of the decisions, a lot of the things they did, a lot of the things they spent money on, a lot of the things they didn't spend on money on, it was such a high and low amount of battling with each other and then just the repetitive nature to where it's like, you know what, we don't have a budget, so we're just going to have them run around in this maze for whatever for the last half hour or half of the movie. I give it a 2. I'm not. I mean, this is I mean. And if you watch it, for those people who are going to attempt to watch it, maybe you'll get something out of it. Watch it with subtitles so you can understand what the demon guy says.
Watch it with subtitles.
And as for favorite scene, this isn't a joke, but my favorite scene is the end credits.
Oh my God!
Because that seems to be the part where they actually spent money in showing this sort of like hell world or whatever that this whole thing was a part of. And that was the part that I was most entranced by, this sort of world expansion of watching all the people. You could see like the camera moves out and you see all these mazes and you see like these hell pits that if you get to the end of the maze, you get to a hell pit. And I was like, oh, this is more amazing than the whole film. This few minutes of end credits are the main redeemable thing for me. But again, it's the end credits, and maybe that's why they were trying to tie in with the preacher guy in the very beginning, that all these people are getting trapped in these different things. But that was the most entertaining part for me. Was the end credits.
There
Which
you
I don't know
go.
what that says about the movie.
That's the one time you can legitimately say that, right? So,
Yeah.
all right, Jeff Mohr, sir, your final thoughts, your score, and your favorite scene.
So, just to talk about something else, I agree with what several of you are saying, that I like the actors, I like the relationship with them, but it's all there was, and I thought, I don't know, the scene where they were Auntie was trying to drag Sally through the wall, which seemed really ridiculous.
Yeah.
Did not create tension for me. I felt like it was supposed to, but it made me feel like, well, break some more of the wall out. And who puts, anyway, I just was not really buying it. But so I'm going to give this a 2.25. I mean, I think it looks good, and I think the acting's good, and I like some of the dialogue, like what you guys were talking about. And I'm going to take, I have to take the first part of that
Striptease?
that Crystal picked as a favorite scene, because I was going to pick that as my favorite scene, but she left the first part out, where she says, "That's right, I punched you right in your dusty twat."
Yeah, oh my God,
Girl's like,
Dusty.
That whole line, that series of lines, I loved. I also, the other thing I really loved was when she's going, "How am I supposed to know? I'm not a chud." Which was, there was several lines in there that were callbacks to 80s movies, I thought.
There were a few. All right, wow, there's a big forehead in the screen. I'm so distracted by the forehead.
It's my headphones. I'm sorry. I'm trying to work on something. It's my headphones.
Your forehead phones. I'm totally blown away now. This movie is frustrating in this way, and you guys are all right, every one of you. And the film is it's uneven and frustrating, but like I said, it's somewhere around the midway time. I think it's when the two characters actually ended up in the same room, or maybe it might have been when Ray got it in the head. At that point, I started getting into the movie and enjoying it a lot more. But I mean, the best things about it are maybe the cinematography and the lighting and the it's in focus. I know it seems like it's in focus, but it was amazingly well in focus. I don't know why I picked up on that, but so I'm gonna give it a 2.75. I think somebody said it was better than average, and I think it kind of is. Right in that spot. Like I said, for 2.5, 2.75. So what would that be? 2.65. 2.675.
Yeah.
I'll go with that. My favorite scene. What can I pick if you guys picked all that? Okay. So one thing that I enjoyed after the first one was the bells tolling. Right. I forget what they call it.
Oh, the trumpets.
The trumpets.
Of course, the trumpets of Revelation. Oh.
Yes. And so the first time I said, she's just interpreting it wrong. But then I realized, oh no, they're actually going there. Okay, they're being literal. They're not being metaphor. It's not a metaphor. Okay, I get it. And I don't know. I don't know. I was enjoying that. I thought it was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's handled well, but I know it's a sad, scene to pick for my favorite. But there you go. All right.
I don't think that's a sad scene. I think it was fun. It was a fun watch. Just don't expect too much and don't take it too seriously.
It does do one thing that I dislike. It thankfully it did it sparingly, and that's where it has the CGI blood on the.
Oh yeah.
Screen.
Yeah.
It did it twice, and I think I can forgive that, but it was it's annoying. I wish that wasn't a thing people did. I mean, I get it, like with the gunshots, especially on low budget films, because that's dangerous. Let's go ahead and do that and accept it. But come on, squirt some blood up on the screen.
It's so much faster to clean up, though.
Well, true. All right, well, there's our review for Revealer. It's streaming on Shudder. Check it out and let us know what you think of it down below. All right, Dave, Christopher, Crystal, Jeff, thank you for joining me. This was fun.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right, let's say goodnight.
Good night.
Night.
Bye-bye.